Hey y'all, I'm Richard. Now, one of the things you'll first notice might be that I have a kind of a southern accent. Yeah, that's not fake. I had to earn that. See, I came from Southern California, where instead of saying y'all, I said you guys. Hey you guys, didn't matter whether a girl or a boy. But that's all changed. Where my parents had moved the day after I graduated from high school. I think I better go get me a cup of coffee to get this started off. Okay, I'm back. I was really just checking to make sure my microphone was on and that the camera was on and we were recording. And now that I'm back, I'm wondering if that ever happened. Let me check again. Nah, I'm pretty sure it's working. Well, I got a cup of coffee. Now, there's a thing about coffee cups. I usually have a mug. I like a mug because I just like a mug. I've done it forever. But this chair here doesn't have a snug little place to put a mug. It's too big. Like inside my car, it's too big. It's not designed for a mug. I don't know how it is that we left all those things that we still enjoy. I guess everybody wants to carry a glass or a mug or maybe a Coke bottle or something like that. It's not like in the old days when, well, you just had a mug. You put your coffee in a mug. Or you put your coffee in a cup. If you went in a restaurant, you had a cup of coffee there, it was on a little cup with a saucer. Well, that was back in a long, long time ago. Now, when I moved to Arkansas, I found that things are a lot different than they were in California. I had a large family, brothers and sisters, mom and dad. There were 8 of us at home all the time, 9 of us all together. And the oldest one moved out about 1960. And I was next to the oldest. So, well, as time went by, like I said, my parents decided to move to Arkansas. They were Seventh-day Adventists. Now, it's interesting that they were Seventh-day Adventists in that, you know, we were some of the first vegetarians. Yeah, well, the first ones of vegetarians that was a staple thing to do because that's what the religion was. Now, you could eat meat if you was clean meat, but a lot of Seventh-day Adventists decided that they didn't want to eat meat. They would be vegetarian. Now, they did drink milk and cheese when I was a kid, but I never had a hamburger until I was 18 years old and got off on my own. Well, all that changed when I got in the Navy because, well, you ate what they had. And the thing is, they had some pretty good food as far as I'm concerned. I remember lots of guys complaining about it. Yeah, it wasn't like home. It wasn't that good. But it was a lot different in my house. Well, now, after a few trips to Cuba and a trip to Mediterranean, and 2 years later, I got out. Now, the thing was, I'd taken immediate active duty as a reservist. So that meant I got 2 years active duty and 4 years inactive duty. But since I took the active duty first, I didn't have to go to all them meetings. Well, that's anyway, I went back home to my parents' house in Arkansas. You know, that's the way it was. I got to have a sip of coffee here. Let's see, how do you get this thing open? Now, we got a couple of these. My son gave them to me for Christmas one year. And I guess my eyesight's not good because it says closed. I'm going to have to open that again. That's one of the things about being old. Your eyesight goes. I got cataract. I got cataracts. And you know, when you get cataracts, you get to a point where you can't even drive a car if you don't get surgery and have it fixed. Well, I did that, but in the meantime, when I came back, my vision was perfect. I could see everything. 3 days later, things started blurring up again. Blurring up again. I gotta have some coffee. Burned my mouth. That's the problem with these things. You don't know when that coffee's going to come out. Well, this is the way it was. You had a cup of coffee. And where was I? Oh, my eyes got blurry. And then, a couple days later, I started seeing double. Well, it took about a year for that to go by. For it to go away, the doctor would say, well, actually he didn't say much of nothing. I asked him, and they just kind of avoided the question. It was kind of, But at any rate, over a period of a year, it got to where I could see pretty good. Not as good as I'd like to. But I can read. They say 20/20 if you look at it right there in bright light and everything, but boy, if you don't have that bright light and you don't have it booked in the right place, nope, that won't work. So anyway, where was I? Yeah, Arkansas. Now, let's go back to California because we talked about Seventh-day Adventists, and there's a thing about Seventh-day Adventists. They don't smoke, they don't drink, and they don't have liquor. Well, I guess I just said they don't drink. They don't drink liquor, and they don't even drink coffee. How about that? But you know what? On average, the Seventh-day Adventists, you can look this up. I'll tell you, you go and look at Loma Linda or something, and you'll discover that Seventh-day Adventists is, if I could call it, a blue area where people live to be over 100 years old, an uncommon amount. People live 80 years old, 90 years old. I'm a prime example, and I didn't even live that kind of life all my life. I'm 81 years old. So it's been good to me as far as that goes. I've watched my diet now. Now, for years and years, we took our kids to McDonald's just like everybody else. Taco Bell. I remember when Taco Bell first come to California. And I even remember when, what other place was it? What was it? McDonald's. I remember when McDonald's had a sign that said, over 5,000 sold. Then it was 10,000, then 100,000, and I don't have a clue what they do. Probably 1 billion or more. I haven't been. They don't put the sign up anymore. But anyway, that's the good old days. Memory fades after 60 years. Memory fades. Just don't forget that. All the little details that you remembered, they kind of migrate into something else. I'm sorry. It'll happen to you if you live as long as I do. Yeah. Don't believe it, just wait and see. Alright, I was in good shape for 145 pounds, and I'd been through boot camp and been overseas and did exercises every day, so yeah, I was from a totally different country. I mean, Southern California is totally different than Arkansas. In the Ozarks, there's more story to that. There's lots of stories about Arkansas. I don't know, I got a Navy in May 7th, 1967, and I don't know what more I can tell you about that, but I think it's a good thing to talk to you. If you want to hear more of the stories, then connect up with me sometime. Hit that subscribe button. If you'll subscribe, I'd appreciate it. Thank you for watching. See you later.